going too fast. I will say that each section has an introduction. So another one of the challenges we faced in developing this was many teachers across the province don't have resources to just be able to learn themselves what they need to know to implement it. So we have tried in short pages to introduce core content and concepts so that everything that teachers need should be here. So that's not to say there isn't way beyond this volume to learn and understand, but for example, in Mi'kma'ki, just the names of the districts, where they are, something about relationship to land, so and then going through. So another example, this learning activity depends on kids doing an atlas project, so they can click on the districts, print them, and then go from there. So we hope, this is a flip atlas, it's one of my favorites. We do hope to be done soon, very soon. We're actually getting there with the first volume, so then it's just a matter of having all the supplemental material getting populated, and that it's just a matter at Mi'kmaq Divert, we have a fairly large digital archive, which is part of why we're helping do this work, and so it's a matter of just finding the resources that we have and getting them formatted and printed, but there's not content development after the next little piece here. So we would welcome your feedback. If you see other things, you can always I'm on the Mi'kmaq Divert website. Again, my name's Leah. You can contact us. Mello's very contactable through her office. But if you have other suggestions or if you see anything that concerns you, we're still working, so we're at a time where we can make changes. Okay?
You want to bring us up to the equity?
Yes.
I have a question. What's the grade level?
Thank you. 4 to 6 was the grade level we were asked to work with. And
Can I interject here?
Yes.
Okay, so although the request is for grades 4 to 6 and our key focus was for focusing on 4 to 6, I personally have taught in junior high. I taught grades 7, 8, and 9, and I know that I could adapt this content to them. I was talking to Star about this, and she teaches university courses, and she would adapt the information to suit her needs too. So it's adaptable really to any grade. And we originally didn't even want to put the grade levels on it because we didn't want a teacher to think because they're in grade 5 that they have to start in the grade 5 section. It's really important to get our students established in the foundation piece in order to understand what comes next. Because you can't understand treaty making unless you understand treaty denial. You can't understand treaty denial until you have the foundations of who the Mi'kmaq people are.
can we share copies with people who just come in?
So this brings us to the piece on equity. So I want to thank the people who volunteered graciously to read in the Reader's Theater. If you don't have a copy of the Reader's Theater, this Reader's Theater can be found in the supplementary material. Our funder thought that the volume would be too thick if we included all of the supplementary materials in the copies, so they're going to be found online as a PDF. Is there anybody in here who teaches English? Any English teachers in here?
Why? I don't know if I want to say yes.
Does anybody else need a copy? Okay, so Reader's Theater is a way for teachers to use storytelling in a classroom where everybody can participate. So there's 11 parts in the skit. You can have different readings in the classroom. You can have different groupings in the classroom where people are playing different roles. It's a fun and creative way to engage students and to use speaking and listening in your classroom. Students can develop fluency while reading their parts. It's an opportunity to build confidence in students. So those of you who volunteered to read today, I'm really proud of you because you're building your confidence and you're building your fluency too, so good for you. At the same time, the Readers Theater engages students and it encourages that dialogue that's needed to discuss equity, fairness, and equality. And understanding those differences is key to tree education. Knowing that our Mi'kmaq learners are faced with misconceptions and stereotypes every day of their lives. So having that discussion in the classroom and addressing that is really important. I was chatting with my friends before this and we were actually talking about stereotypes that we face today in the workplace. So we face those every day. So it's really important to address those. All right, so this is draft. It doesn't matter if you copy it. I just want you to know that it's a draft, so I don't want people to judge any misspellings because it's draft. So everybody has their roles, so can I have a hand? Who's narrator one? Narrator one,
narrator
sorry, Benoit. Narrator one, narrator two, narrator three, principal, TJ. Awesome. Solon, Hudson,
Right here, Hudson, right here.
okay. Tess, is his admin assistant with him or no? Adara, okay. Madeline, Kiki, and Meadow. Awesome. So we want to add a pronunciation guide to this too because there's some Mi'kmaq words in here and we're hoping that's going to support our learners in the classroom. But we also had a request to have a pronunciation guide available online for teachers to access because a lot of teachers in the provincial school system feel intimidated because they don't know how to pronounce a lot of Mi'kmaq words. And even our own people don't know how to pronounce a lot of Mi'kmaq words, so that's really important.
Yeah, I would say it's funny, like on the Mi'kmaq Divert website, you can download the Teaching About the Mi'kmaq resource. Our most visited page on the entire Mi'kmaq Divert website are Patsy's audio translations of Mi'kmaq words. So it tells us people really are using the resource and really wanting to hear the words. So, and that's been consistent over the last couple of years. Like I've checked that all the time. It's true this morning. So.
Snaps for Patsy.
1 point.
Yeah, so in the classroom, we would encourage students to skim through, highlight their roles, understand their roles, to get into character, to make sure they understand how to pronounce all the words. Give them an opportunity to ask a peer how to pronounce something, practice, etc. So pretend we did that. And for those of you who don't have a reading card, just follow along closely and just remember to have fun. All right, narrator one.
Okay, scene one, a middle school somewhere in Mi'kmaq. The students are gathered around a sitting area in the foyer of their middle school. Recess is coming to a close and the students are engaged in casual conversation and finishing up their snacks.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Orange,
Orange who?
aren't you going to answer the door?
Tess was not too sure if Hudson's knock-knock joke amused her, but the other students chuckled at the fun.
Ha! You make me laugh, Hudson. Got another one?
No, please, not another knock-knock joke. Well, take another one of those carrot sticks, Hudson.
Hudson's mom is making an effort to pack healthy snacks for his lunch bag every day. Carrot sticks are fun, but it was the 98th day of school, and 98 days of carrot sticks weren't as exciting as the first day of carrot sticks.
And so Hudson was more than happy to share his snack with everyone.
I've got carrot sticks for days. Take one, Tess. Help yourself.
Oh, Robin, thank you.
A gentle musical chime can be heard over the school speakers. The sound is soothing, and it signals to the school population that an announcement will soon be shared.
The students sit up straight, ready to listen attentively and closely watch the monitor installed in the school lobby.
Did anyone notice the alliteration in narrator everyone's first comment, wink wink, insert smile from teachers everywhere.
Yahoo! I am so happy. TJ's mom's volunteered to do sign language, the principal's announcements on the news monitor in the lobby.
Meadow, I noticed you had a hard time hearing the announcements before you got your new hearing aid. I bet the new sign language helps you too, eh?
Yep, sure does.
My mom's cool.
Kiki and Sullen, each give TJ a high five. Hudson also attempts to offer TJ a high five, but his hands are filled with carrot sticks. They acknowledge each other with a friendly smile.
Knock knock.
Who's there?
Yeah.
Yahoo!
Yahoo! I'm excited for Meadow too.
You all be quiet. Attentive listening. We need to listen for the principal's announcements.
Attention all First Nations students, please report to the library after the lunch bell. There will be a short but important meeting regarding the upcoming Monday Maui Omi. Again, all First Nations students report to the library after the lunch bell.
Luckies. Why do the First Nation students get to miss class? They are so lucky. They get to do everything. It seems like our school is always doing something to teach us about being Mi'kmaq. Sheesh.
Hey, our school does do a lot to teach us about Mi'kmaq. I love seeing my Giju come in to visit the school last week. She shared a lot of stories with my class about eeling and how to prepare eels for a traditional feast. That makes me feel proud.
And then there was that time Uncle Gerald came to talk about the wood spirits, the woodland. That was so interesting.
I hope to get to see Wigglamagook someday.
Yeah, TJ, you ran up to Gerald and gave him a big hug and told him you were 1/8 Mi'kmaq.
I did do that, didn't I?
TJ playfully scratches his head as if to suddenly remember his actions that day.
Could I interject? Technically, the First Nation students are not missing class, TJ. Just the first few minutes of lunch.
Wait a minute, TJ. Why did you say that First Nations people are lucky? Why did you say that they get everything? Do you know why our school plays a good role in teaching everyone about who the Mi'kmaq are?
It's reconciliation.
Nice try, cousin. It's called reconciliation.
That reconciliation is restoring a friendship with the First Nations people.
And restoring that friendship means learning about us, learning the history of my people, our people, because our history belongs to all of us.
Just like signing all our treaties. Isn't this just important to the Mi'kmaq and the British and the French too?
Actually, the treaties signed in Mi'kmaq are important to anyone living in Mi'kmaq. I mean Nova Scotia.
Reconciliation means we have to acknowledge our histories and move forward together with Mi'kmaq and non-Mi'kmaq people. All of us, like you and me and Adra and Meadow and everyone you too, TJ.
Mom told me a lot about the hurts in the past put Mi'kmaq people on reserves, taking away their hunting and fishing grounds, sending little kids away to residential school.
Treaty denial.
My great grandmother's was Mi'kmaq, and she had to go to the residential school when she was little.
I remember honoring the residential school survivors by choosing to wear an orange shirt on Orange Shirt Day. But still, shouldn't we learn about all of our different cultures in the school equally? We do live in Canada.
TJ, my friend, that would make things seem equal. But would it be equitable?
Tess was a very outgoing and vocal young lady. She has a powerful influence of strong, educated, and dedicated Mi'kmaq women in her home.
Luckily for Tess, she had just returned from a visit to her auntie's house over the weekend. Auntie is another powerful Mi'kmaq woman.
Tess's aunt is a Mi'kmaq water protector. Over the weekend, Tess, her cousins, and her aunties attended a peaceful protest at Oak Harbor.
The protest was hosted by Chief and Community at Pictou Landing First Nations.
Tess asked lots of questions.
One of the many questions Tess asked about were the differences between the words equality and equity.
Because Tess asked so many questions, She had the utmost confidence to speak to her peers about equity.
Equity? What is equity? Isn't that the same as equal?
Equal is treating everyone the same, like your idea of equally learning about every culture in the school.
The students sit back and relax on the school's newly purchased sofa chairs, which were arranged in a restorative-inspired circle.
Interestingly enough, the principal had hoped the circle arrangement would encourage dialogue and relationship building amongst the students.
And guess what is happening? Interesting and constructive dialogue between Tess, TJ, Song, Madeleine, Adara, Meadow, and Kiki.
Hudson, on the other hand, might have been thinking of his next knock-knock joke.
I can't forget to mention the carrot sticks. There was also an endless supply of carrots.
I don't get it. I just don't. Tess, can I try to explain it? I think I can connect it to the Maui-Omi meet we're having on Monday.
Go for it, Saul. I'll help you when I can.
Okay, TJ, let's say we are all going to the Maui-Omi on Monday and we all want to dance, but we need moccasins. Pretend we all need moccasins, but we have no moccasins. No one has a pair of moccasins.
We have a problem, we need moccasins.
Let's give everyone a pair of moccasins.
You get a pair, I get a pair, everyone gets a pair. To make it equal, we will give everyone the same style and size.
Because that's equality.
But what if I don't fit the size of the moccasins you gave me?
Or what if I don't like the style of the moccasin you gave me?
But I treated everyone equally and gave everyone the same size and style of moccasin. I'd be devastated. I won't be able to try to dance the two-step jingle dance with Madeline if my moccasins didn't fit me. I solved the problem. I gave everyone moccasins when they had none. We still have a problem.
What obstacles are stopping people from getting an individual pair of moccasins?
Size? I'm a size 5. What if this song gave out only size 7?
Style, I have narrow feet and I need my moccasins to fit correctly, or they will fall off when I am dancing.
My feet are long and I definitely do not fit size 7.
Oh, I think I get it. Equality didn't solve the problem of us not having any moccasins to dance with. It kind of just created more problems. There is no single-size moccasins that will fit everyone. We all have different needs. We need different sizes, fits, and styles to make us happy.
Equality assumes everyone starts at the same place, with the same help and support.
Have you ever met a person who is exactly like you?
Have you ever met a person who needs exactly what you need?
Have you ever met a person who faces the exact same problems you face?
No, of course not. So what do we do now? Wait, I know the answer. Let's give everyone a pair of moccasins that are individual to their own unique needs.
Right, achieving equity means we all reach the same outcome, but we might need to get there in different ways. In this case, we all get to dance, but only we all have different size moccasins.
Equity is giving people what they need to be successful. It's important that everyone is involved in defining what success is. How does this connect to my comment about the First Nation kids being lucky ducks?
Remember the history I shared with you earlier, how history has created some difficult times for the Mi'kmaq. Mi'kmaq have a different history than other people here in Nova Scotia.
Being Mi'kmaq is awesome.
There are times when being Mi'kmaq didn't feel so awesome, like when Meadow's grandmother got sent to residential school when she was a kid, or how my great-great-grandfather, Chief Joseph Julian, had to fight the government for his life so that he wasn't forced to leave Millbrook during centralization.
Or the fact that heart disease and diabetes are easier to get as a First Nation person. Statistically, I'm more likely than others to have these health conditions. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't be stuck eating carrots every day. My mom She's type 2 diabetic and she is super cautious of what I eat. I know this because she reminds me every day.
My older sister, Maureen, she plays hockey and sometimes she hears racist remarks on the ice. She tries really hard to keep her cool.
I get frustrated at times too. I want to be an actor and win an Oscar at the Academy Awards someday. But it's really hard to move to Hollywood when no one will give me acting gigs because of my brown skin and long hair. It's always what they aren't looking for.
Stereotypes, misconceptions, and discrimination too, Ed. Experiences that happened in the past means that we have to make changes in the present to achieve equity for First Nations people in the future.
I know, eh?
One time, I was in a restaurant eating brunch with my family in Halifax. I needed to go #1. So I walked into the men's bathroom and this guy looks at me with long braided hair and says to me, "Hey kid, the girls' bathroom is over there."
The kids all shake their heads in disbelief because how could our First Nation students still be facing issues of misconceptions and discrimination today, after all of these years?
I think it's cool that we have the choice to learn in all gender local bathroom in our school.
I know, eh?
Oh geez, I didn't realize all that stuff, Tess. Thanks for sharing all of this with me. I can't wait to go home and talk to my dad about this stuff when I see him next weekend.
No problem, TJ. What are friends for?
Thanks for listening, TJ. Could have walked away from this conversation, but instead you stayed and listened. Person can't jump to conclusions right away. Drew always tells me about the importance of respect and listening.
Yeah, could you always say, listen to learn and learn to listen.
Listen to learn and learn to listen. It's not about throwing away stuff you don't understand or just forgetting about it. It's about having patience and listening and figuring things out. I guess some groups of people face barriers because of who they are and the way other people have treated them in the past and still treat them today. We all have to work together to create equity.
That's right, TJ. Some people must take 10 steps when others only have to take 2 to get to that finish line.
Finish line? Okay, Saul. You're getting too deep into this conversation. Where are you, the teacher now? Mr. Saul, please report to the office.
You started it.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Fix.
Fix who?
Fix the understandings of equity and equality because they're broken.
That was clever, Hudson.
And that was one long snack break.
Strangely enough, the learners all experienced a super long snack break. And it seems the Creator works in the most mysterious ways. Wouldn't you agree?
Attention all students, the bell system seems to be experiencing difficulty. This is your verbal signal to go to your next class. And a correction to that last announcement. All students interested in volunteering for the Monday Maui Omi are to report to the library after the bell. Because after all, we are all treated equally.
Okay, so, are there any comments about the Reader's Theater?
That was pretty
Has this
cool.
been,
Awesome.
Yeah.
Can you,
any consideration for, like, to incorporate this within the community for provincial?
where did Heidi go? Okay, well, my understanding, Jacob, is that we are going to try to do professional development with the provincial, teachers, right? We did have professional development session with the Mi'kmaq, Inambanaway teachers from grades primary to 8 a few weeks ago. So, it's up to the direction of them because they're going to fund it, and I'm gonna try my best to do as much as I can in our region, so,
There's a need.
yeah,
Yep.
for sure.
Yep.
I think, just, last week, I think a few of us were there. We were invited at an interview to present, I think there were 28 presenters at an interview. whole day. And I think it was like 4 sessions we had, and different classrooms, and mainly everybody came from Eskasoni and number 2, some from Buffalo, okay? And we presented to the whole school, whole day, and everything. Sled Lodge, cultural journeys were there were cooking, there was spirituality, there was medicine and history, and I was there, you know, and I even talked about the difference when I was in the review, what I went through and today, and Grand Council members were there, so everybody was in the classroom, all 28 of us.
Well, I know that in previous years, Patsy, who's was the original coordinator of Mi'kmaq Services at our region, used to host education conferences, and she would host them every October. I know some people in here attended them, and she had to stop them because the funding wasn't there.
We did
So-
it for 10 years.
Yeah, and there was a variety of topics to help educate the teachers in our provincial school systems, because educating and professional development isn't just needed in the provincial school systems, it's also needed within Mi'kmaq. At our last session, I had asked the room, was there anybody here who has ever heard of the Treaty of 1725? And not one person put up their hand. And these are our educators. So we're relying on them to educate our children on our history. So we really do have to do professional development with our teachers, yeah. And we want to build confidence in our teachers as well. So this resource is developed so that all of the content is there to build that security in the teachers so that they can feel confident to develop it and to deliver it in their classrooms.
I feel like, you know, we have like connections with CVU, we have connections with St. FX. Future educators should be educated about this stuff.
I'm going to a meeting, actually, I'm going to a meeting, May 30th, and that's exactly what I'm gonna do. I'm going to talk to the, people who develop the BED programs and, talk to them about treaty education and the importance of it, so I'll be able to be a voice at that table.
Yeah, you know how they're usually able to take electives, you know, if they
Yeah.
want to take
Yeah.
First Nations
I agree.
education. I think it should be mandatory for them to start taking.
Requirement for it.
And here's something really important, sorry Trina, here's something really important too. This resource, right now, in the provincial school system, although it's part of treaty education, is optional. It's not mandated for our provincial school teachers to teach it in their classrooms. And that is the struggle that needs to be taken now. So we have to look at our leaders, we have to look at our leaders like Jaime Baptiste, Jacob Gill, Carolyn Apple. We have to ensure that our leaders fight to ensure, and Leroy, to ensure that this has to be mandatory to be taught in our provincial school systems. Because in order to fight the discrimination and the misconceptions and the stereotypes that our students face today, and I know Sean can speak to that because the racism and the stereotypes that, and the discrimination that your students experience every single day in your school are so rampant, and it all stems from the lack of education in our students.
I just wanted to comment about the education program at St. X. They're gonna implement this treaty education in this 2019-2020 year. So all practicing teachers coming through the program will receive this treaty education.
Excellent.
And in my opinion, I feel like with Jeff Orr and Joanne Tompkins and certain equity champions that they're really involved with our Mi'kmaq communities over, you know, I can't think of, I'm sure, over 20 years. I really feel like those two individuals get the idea of equity and inclusion and really lived in our communities and consulted that they are eliminating barriers within the education program at St. X to be more inclusive too. Like, I think about the baby cohorts that go into Mi'kmaq communities. Like, I feel like a lot of Ilnu sacrifice their identity by going to public schools or universities and feel this discrimination, but I feel like, you know, we need to start bringing education within our communities, and I see that with NSCC and Watermark Group, I see that with the education program, training Mi'kmaq teachers, like from Waikagama, Eskasoni, Regishimi, and they've done that before, I just wasn't part of it, but I think that's part of what Melody said, is asking your leaders to try to develop that, because at the end of the day, I feel like, again, I'll repeat it, is that we sacrifice so much teaching us about ourselves and giving us that confidence, so. And I just wanna make one more comment, working at St. Yvette's the last 5 years, I noticed kids coming from MK schools are coming with so much more pride and identity in who they are, and they have the academics to do the work, like, their marks are great. It's the cultural shock and the lack of cultural supports that are at these universities, so I think it's important to bring education to our communities as well. It's just not something that is possible for every community, right? So.
In St. FX, Jeff Orr was involved heavily in the development of the framework for tree education too, so that's why X is dynamite. Does anybody else have any questions?
I have a comment. Once you release this book, I really hope that there's in-servicing that goes with it.
Yes.
I think it should be mandatory because it's important, just like the Blue Book. The Blue Book was our Mi'kmaq Bible. It answered every question that every non-native person that wanted answered. But then there was no in-servicing to go with it. And they were kind of like left, what do we do with this? You know? So we need to really ensure that we have in-servicing provided for everyone. They're all treaty people.
And again, we have to really push our leaders in education to make sure that happens. Are there any more questions? All right, so if there's no other questions, I have a copy of the other skit, if anybody wants it. It's on the ratification of the Treaty of 1725, and it's really fun, so that one has a lot more comedy in it.
Are you giving away gift cards?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Small, yeah.